National Synchrotron Light Source II is a large accelerator that creates synchrotron radiation that we use to characterize materials. We can characterize molecules, thin films, ultracrystals. We can characterize very small materials, but also macroscopic objects that you would see in everyday life. And what we do is to figure out what's their atomic structure, what's their electronic structure. If we look at molecules, what is their function? So there's a lot of diverse information that we can derive from the experiments we do here at the National Synchrotron Light Source II.
NSLS-II was really built to be the world's most powerful photon microscope, and at the time it was unassailed. And in fact, when we designed it, nobody knew quite how to do it because the brightness that we needed from the beam had never been delivered anywhere else. It was born out of NSLS. We'd learned a lot from that. And so in building NSLS-II, there were a lot of characteristics that we needed to try and make sure it had. One of them was stability. The other one, paradoxically, is in order to be very high precision, it needed to be big. It's actually 5 times the size of NSLS.
On October 23rd, 2014 at 10:30 in the morning, NSLS-II achieved first light. First light is the moment when the first time X-rays were delivered, in this case to a fluorescent screen. It was a very exciting moment for everyone at Brookhaven Lab.
I remember that day very well. It was 10 years ago. A big crowd of us standing just behind where I'm standing right now, all waiting to see what was going to happen. We didn't know. There was a lot of anticipation, some nerves. We hadn't practiced this. Didn't know where it was going to go. We were all staring at a screen up on the wall over there to see what was going to happen. There was a big countdown. You open the shutters, a big flash of light. It would work, and that was kind of the big thing. I was very excited, very motivated now to start beginning to use this new machine that we just spent literally 10 years building, and now we get to finally start to see the fruits of our labor and see what kind of amazing things we're going to do with it.
NSLS-II has unique scientific and technical capabilities. The beamlines are really highly optimized for specific experiments, and you can't find these capabilities anywhere else. If it's in scattering, imaging, spectroscopy, you'll find unique capabilities here at NSLS-II that will help you with your research.
There's some very special things about NSLS-II. The energy of the ring, it's 3 GeV. That puts us right in the sweet spot for producing X-rays for a very wide range. So all the way from what we call the very far infrared, all the way up to the very hard X-ray. And so one of the very few facilities that can deliver that entire spectrum to the user.
What's really important is the interaction between our staff and the scientists who want to use the facility. And that's where we've put a lot of effort here, is to making that as open and as fluid and as dynamic as possible.
We are bringing the best and the brightest in the world who have gone through a very arduous process to have their experiment approved to be able to run here at this facility. To be able to give that capability to the world's best scientists, it's prestige for the laboratory and puts Brookhaven at the top.
One of the first structures of a protein and an inhibitor of that protein during the COVID pandemic happened here.
I think the whole facility felt pride that we were part of that battle to try and address the COVID-19 pandemic.
So there's a great momentum in this of having gone from, okay, just the first beamlines where the technique was what was critical, to now a portfolio of beamlines that really establish the science that you want to be able to do.
NSLS-II at this time has 29 operational beamlines, which is really exciting to cover lots of different science questions. But we will add to that with the project that's called NEXT-III. We are adding about 12 new beamlines over the next decades that have complementary capabilities compared to what's already here. And those new capabilities will enable new scientific experiments, attracting additional user communities to the facilities, and they will make really good use of those new experimental capabilities.
Beginning to start changing the way we operate. We've heard a lot about AI at the moment. That's going to come into the way we run the facility in many fundamental ways. I think it's going to be a very exciting time, allowing our users to get their science done in much more effective and faster ways will be really transform the facility going forward. Adding new capabilities that will give us much broader science that we can tackle, and then looking ahead to the next generation of the accelerator itself.
In addition to adding more beamlines to the facility, we want to actually do a substantial upgrade of the accelerator to improve the quality of the light we are getting. We want to increase its brightness, that means the number of photons we can squeeze into a small spot, so that we can do even more advanced microscopy and spectroscopy experiments. It will be super exciting for our user community.
I think everyone associated with it feels a huge sense of pride in terms of what we've built, watching it become this dynamic facility. And being part of that has been really personal privilege for me.
But I think the biggest source of pride for me is how the staff as a whole have come together to actually deliver world-class performance world-class results day after day after day, and continue to laugh together, to have coffee together, to work together. And that, I think, is my best contribution, I think, is helping that happen.
If you ask me to give one message to all the staff at NSLS-II, it will be thank you. You guys have done an amazing job over the last 10 years, and longer if I look back to the construction period as well. It's been a tremendous amount of effort from everyone. I know how hard people have worked. I know they've given their life and soul to this facility. And I would just say thank you, and it's paid off. If you look at what we achieved together, it's been really amazing. And for me, as I said, it's a real privilege to be part of that team, and I hope you all feel the same way.
Marking a milestone such as this anniversary reminds one of how quickly time passes when you're always looking forward. NSLS-II has much to celebrate on its accomplishments and a very bright future ahead.